Ready, normal people?
Welcome to Sips and Spirits, a podcast for lovers of both alcoholic and spectral kinds. I am your hostess, Chelsea.
I'm our host, Eric.
I worked with you for that.
Thank you for that. It doesn't...
What?
It doesn't mess me up there. Okay. A little disclaimer before we get started. Facts and stories are presented from various sources, and we make no claims these tales are true. We just found them to be spooky and interesting.
Cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during episode recording unless noted otherwise. Because this is one of our infamous cryptid and cocktail episodes, we create a cocktail inspired by the cryptid, so we do taste test this cocktail beforehand.
Is this like midnight hour? Because you're talking so softly.
Like, too softly? Oh,
also,
I totally...
What's the way where your headphones?
I forgot to take off my headphones.
I'm like...
We sound really good, though.
We all sound like robots. But anyway, yes, this cocktail...
I don't think we do.
You were saying about this cocktail?
I already did. I finished. We taste tested it.
Oh, yes, we did taste test it.
We're good.
Okay, cool.
Your turn.
Oh, look at that. We want to remind you that it's fine to enjoy the spirits, but don't let them possess you. We may be a drinking podcast, but we strongly encourage you to drink responsibly. As much as we enjoy our cocktails, I'm not going to enjoy you as much as we love you enjoying our cocktails. There we go. That's words. There's never any pressure to consume them.
Exactly.
You can just come and enjoy the show.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
All right. So are we ready to jump into this?
We are ready
lovely
to jump
cocktail?
into this and get all nice and dirty.
Okay.
I feel like I'm us.
So I feel like we need to add this part before we fully jump in.
Okay.
For those who don't know what a cryptid is.
What is a cryptid?
We have defined it in the past as pretty much being a being that has no scientific proof, but is usually regional based. So, for example, the Loch Ness Monster or Mothman, they have no scientific evidence that they exist, nor any scientific evidence to disprove their existence as well. So, we are going to be introducing our cryptid for this episode with the thanks. Bleh. Oh my gosh. Now it's my turn to stumble.
Yeah.
With the help from our friend Lori of Ghoul at Heart, she pulled this cryptid card during Midsummer Scream 2023. And so we are going to go ahead and let Lori introduce it right now.
Oh, what's this? Holy cow. Tuttle Bottom's Monster.
Tuttle Bottom's Monster. Huh.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I kind of see
He's
it.
kind of cute, huh? Awesome.
So, with that being said, Lori pulled the Tuttle Bottom Monster. Has a lovely, lovely little creature.
Yep.
And with that,
Let's go ahead and toast to the Tuttle Bottom Monster.
let's toast to this lovely little friend. Oh my gosh, it's gross.
Woo! Grossly delicious.
I'm not sure you guys can see this. I'll put it close to the camera. But
If you can, I'll go ahead and put a picture in there.
it's like stuff floating in this thing.
So we were definitely going for a swampy, marshy kind of vibe.
And you will know why soon.
Yeah. So right before we jump into talking all about the cryptid, from the cocktail creation to the cryptid itself, we have to be sure to shout out the wonderful people who guessed, and I'll get to the other point in a second. I know I'm going a little out of order. The people who guessed this cryptid. So if you're first time tuning in to us here at Sips and Spirits, when we have our cryptid episodes upcoming, we share a little riddle and give people a chance to guess what the next cryptid's going to be. So in the last episode, here are our 3 guessers. So first up is basically Giles, who guessed the squonk, which was a very good guess, but we have done the squonk before, so it wasn't the correct answer.
Thanks for trying.
But it was a very good guess. And then we had Harvest Witch Home. I just loved her response. It cracked me up because she said, I don't know and I don't think I want to. It sounds so scary.
I don't know if you see them and hear about them. It might be.
What?
It might not be that scary.
Right. But just based off of the little riddle that we shared.
Yeah.
And then third, but never least, and always a prominent guesser here on Sips and Spirits, is Steaming Kittens. She had one guess, and I forgot what it was before. I didn't write it down, but then she was like, oh, if it's not that, it's the Tuttle Bottoms Monster. So
Man.
she is on it.
She's on it. Like, wow, good job.
Yeah.
Thank you all those lovely guesses.
Yes, thank you everyone for submitting your guesses or comments. We love them, we accept them, and it's so exciting to shout them out here. And then hear you guys be like, oh, I heard you shout me out. Because I had that in the last episode. It was really, really fun. So on that note, when we have guest pullers for our cryptid cocktails, we invite them to do an Instagram live for the to live taste these cocktails. And we will be having Lori and Jose, who pulled the last cryptid, come on and do an Instagram live with us, but that'll probably be sometime in October. So we are inviting Lori and Jose. They're gonna do a double cocktail tasting of both the Flatwoods Monster and the Tuttle Bottoms Monster cocktails on our Instagram live sometime in October. So be sure to keep an eye on our email, where you will probably be the first people to know when that date will be announced. And we'll go from there. It's very fun to have people come in and join us, as well as have our friends come and witness them tasting these cocktails firsthand. It's very exciting.
Very exciting always.
We'll definitely keep you guys posted when we get closer to announcing that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, are we ready to move on to some hauntings behind the bar?
Yes.
Okay.
So what do we got?
So, if you missed it, our last episode was a mocktail episode, which we are so excited. We get a lot of good response from that. Unfortunately, I had the motivation hiccups going on. So our episode came out a little belated and there were a lot of issues with it.
Your energy was drained by something else.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, highly recommend it. We not only designed a cocktail called Code Orange that is non-alcoholic for everyone to enjoy.
Fun for the whole family.
We discussed the whole idea of Halloween hunting and consumerism, and just gave out some substitutes if you are feeling that drain and tired of the grind of trying to go out and find the latest and the greatest, but looking for alternatives to just continue making your Halloween wholesome and fun.
Very much.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
am I just going to read
just
all the
go
points?
Along. These are all yours.
Oh,
I
right.
got nothing to say.
So, we
I'm
are
just staying here to party.
excited. It's finally starting to feel like autumn. We are mid-August once this episode drops.
You
And
mean mid-September?
Mid-September, yes. We are mid-September when this episode drops, and at the time of recording this, temperatures have started to drop here in California.
Finally.
We are in like the mid to low 70s during the day, and nice, cool mid-50s
Nice. Oh, nice.
at night, and we're loving it. It feels like autumn, and so it feels like spooky season.
I'm
and
almost ready to put clothes on to sleep in.
we are here for it.
And finally,
We did
not
it.
finally, like not the last one, but finally, to our son's request, our tofu skeleton finally came up. And yeah, it was a cinch to put up, not a big deal. We have a little corner in front of our house where we put it up.
Mm-hmm.
We got the light kit, which is very nice actually.
Yeah,
Kind of
totally
thing.
worth the $30.
Yeah, if you guys can afford it, check it out. It's great. It gives a little more to it. We just need to add a little more lights just to give it a better effect. But if we don't, it still looks pretty
It
cool.
looks really cool. So
Kind of thing.
we're excited. Our son was super excited. He was like, when we were like, it's time, he's like, it's time.
It's time. Let's do this. Go time.
We're not putting it off anymore, boy.
Kind of thing. But yeah. So, one more thing haunting behind the bar
Yeah.
that I want to talk to you about. This is interesting
Me?
itself. Yes. So, this happened to me the other night.
Uh-huh.
So, I think it was like Tuesday this
Oh,
week.
am I not going to be happy hearing about this story?
No, yeah, it's not a big deal. So, if you haven't seen it, Evil Dead is a movie about a Book of the Dead or Book of the Evil.
The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon.
It's the Book of the Dead,
It's the Book of the Dead.
I believe is what they call
and
it.
pretty much as you read it, you pretty much summon evil. Okay? I have no idea why, but I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my first thought was, I wonder what would happen if I was in that situation, and evil tried to possess me.
Look at my face right now.
And I was like not by choice. If I see a book made of skin and blood, I'm not gonna read it or have it read to me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if I was in that situation and evil tried to possess me, I was like, how would I feel about it? Like, how would I process all this kind of thing? You know, you watch the movies. You know, if you have seen them, you know, people get possessed, they get all like out of control, and they lose themselves, kind of thing.
Yeah. But
also, most of the people you see, and at least in the newest one, you have this distraught mother, you know, at the edge of her, like a better word, sanity, kind of thing. And I was like, And as I'm going here, I'm fighting with myself, like, Eric, why are you having this intrusive thought at 1 o'clock in the morning? You should be sleeping because you gotta go to work in a couple hours. And then I'm like, is that creaking I hear? Is that something like I to get a kind of thing? I know it's our children walking to our bed, kind of thing. And it just, for like a good 3 hours, I'm just there in my head, rumbling out, like, well, how would I do this? What would happen?
Oh my
but
goodness.
Also, why are you doing this? So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was a fun night.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
thing.
can imagine. That's like how most of my insomnia nights start. So, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I keep having these thoughts about, like, not consistently or middle of the night, but we've had this conversation before about how the possessions work, kind of thing, and how would they go about different people, and is it easier to possess some people versus others, and how do people like fight it off, and like how would it be?
Why are some chosen over others?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that was a fun little adventure I had one night.
Everyone on YouTube is like seeing us like bleh. There was a gnat here, and we both saw it and tried to get it at the same time. So it wasn't a failed high five, guys, I swear. We were both after the gnat.
That's what I've been talking to you about all week.
Oh.
I was like, what do you think about this?
I don't think that's very cool thoughts. No. Especially
1 in the morning?
Yeah.
Like I was woken up with this thought. I was like, I woke up, I was like...
Yeah, especially that it woke you from your sleep.
No, like it didn't wake me from my sleep. Like, I woke up, like, you know, and because I'm on my CPAP, I try to keep my eyes closed, because if I take it off and do something, like, I have to, like, restart the whole cycle of, like, the air, like, getting to this point. But I woke up, and I was, like, there, like, with my eyes closed, going, I'm awake now. I wonder what happens if the Necronomicon was open, like, right next to me. And, like, would it possess me? Would it possess somebody else around me? What would happen?
It's been very interesting to see how that lore has built, because I'm a Army of Darkness baby. Like, I grew up with Army of Darkness. I cannot tell you when was the first time I saw it, but I know it's been a movie my family always watch. My dad is a huge Bruce Campbell fan. It's the reason why he watches some of the shows he has. If you know, you know.
Right.
And I think I was maybe like 13 or 14 when I first saw the original Evil Dead, after having grown up with Army of Darkness, which, if you've ever seen either of those, Army of Darkness is definitely more of a horror comedy. It is embracing that hokiness that they did in Evil Dead that wasn't intentional and made it intentional. So it's very fun and entertaining, but Evil Dead's a bit different on its spin. And so it's been interesting, like, watching, and then they remade it, like 10 years ago?
Something like that.
I think it was like 2014 was when they did that remake with the girl. And then they just came out with Evil Dead Rise, which I'm not sure where that's supposed to fit into the universe. I don't know if it's supposed to be connected to the original Evil Deads or be a continuation of the remake Evil Dead, or if it's supposed to kind of tie them all in.
I don't know.
Evil. Very interesting. But it's been fun to watch it develop, and we are suckers for a good, well-played possession movie, and Evil Dead Rise definitely had us on the edge of our seat.
Yep.
And if you're familiar with the Evil Dead universe, you see what's happening, what's going to go on and happen in the film for sure.
Yeah.
But it's still a very, very intense ride, nonetheless.
Very creepy, yes, for sure.
Yeah, like, this was up for like what, an hour and a half after. Like, I can't settle.
We had to watch like at least like a good hour of like non-scary stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
Poor Kobe.
Yeah. So, are we ready to talk about this cocktail?
Yes.
That we've been teasing.
Yes. Let's talk about this cocktail and enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah.
So, go for it.
Oh, you're not gonna ask me?
Ask you, what are we drinking today?
All right. So we are drinking. Actually, we don't do that for this, huh?
No, we're not drinking. So I was like, what are you talking about? We're drinking muck water.
We're drinking the Tuttle Bottoms Monster.
We went outside. We saw our pots full of water. We just cooked it up.
Oh, that's gross.
That's what we did.
Anyway, so this cocktail, we were going for a marshy, swampy vibe without imitating the marshy, swampy vibe we've done in other cocktails for other cryptids.
Yep.
So the ingredients used was we did a honey drizzle in a chilled champagne glass. We have a tulip glass here, which if you can get your hands on, we recommend, but any champagne flute will work well with this cocktail. Then we filled a cocktail shaker with 2 ounces of Sexton whiskey, 1 ounce of sour mix, and 1/2 ounce of Genepe. Shook those together and then poured it into our honey drizzled chilled glass. And as you can see, here it is.
Here it is, in all its beauty and
murkiness. And the lighting is actually really helping with the beauty of this cocktail.
I realized, I was like, what is that thing murking in there? Oh, that's the part of the sour mix.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. We make our own sour mix. It's 1 part lime, 1 part lemon, 1 part
simple syrup, and then half a part
of lime.
Yeah.
So you can do the math however you want on that. How much ever you want to make, kind of thing. You mix it together, fantastic. So, why did we choose these ingredients?
So one of the reasons is Irish whiskey is a popular spirit of Illinois, where the Tuttle Bottom Monster hails from. And Sexton is really good about bringing both flavorful and foresty flavors. So we wanted that because it's like the Tuttle Bottoms, it's not a swamp necessarily, but it's kind of more marshy, right? If I remember correctly. Or is it swampy?
It is swampy.
But so we wanted that like earthy but wet kind of vibe to it. We use the Genepe to bring in more of the herbal, bring out those forest notes. And then the the honey tones down that forest without it being like too overwhelming or feel too mossy. Because we did try without the honey. And it's funny, even though the honey's just drizzled in the glass, it totally made a big difference. Because at one point when we were trying to make this cocktail, we made a sample and I was like, this tastes like mold. We cannot do this. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
So we were trying to figure out, because we made quite a few different iterations before we got to this. And we were like, we need something to tone it down because the sweetener isn't quite doing it in the sour mix.
Yeah.
But just putting extra simple syrup felt like it wasn't quite, it was just muting the flavors in addition to adding some sweetness to it. So we really like how this ended up doing with just the honey drizzle.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the reason behind our simple 3-ingredient cocktail.
There we go. 3
or
ingredients.
Technically 4, but
I mean, you can't all the sour mix and stuff, but if you buy your own sour mix, it makes it easier.
no, I mean, you have the Sexton, the Genepe, the sour mix, and honey.
Yeah.
So that's 4.
4 ingredients. But very simple.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Simple and
it's great.
delicious.
You know, it's not too bad. It's not too sour. It's not too sweet. I like it. It does feel. It feels murky, but like not like uncomfortable. So
Yeah, I do. I like it's cool and refreshing, but it's weighty. So perfect, I feel, for autumn time. It almost reminds me a bit of, do you remember Death Door's cocktail?
Yeah.
The orchard stroll.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives me that kind of feel in like its weight and its mouth. Because it definitely sticks in your mouth. And I think that's the honey kind of adhering to everything.
For sure.
And you would think with just a little honey drizzle that it wouldn't add too much to the flavor of the drink, but it really does. And it's so fun to find these new tricks to apply to our cocktail creation.
Our suggestion is drizzle the glass with honey. Don't drizzle the cocktail mixer because the ice will solidify the honey and then you lose a lot of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
We've done it before and it's like,
Well, and it's like, so as you're drinking this cocktail, the honey's breaking down into it. So the cocktail itself is almost shifting and changing.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Okay.
That's
You
it
ready?
for me.
You ready for me?
No.
No. Where can you find this cocktail?
Yeah.
Where do you find all these delicious, lovely cocktails?
Well, you can find all our cocktails on our website, sipsandspirits.com. There's a little tab right there at the top that says cocktails. You just click on that. Oh, because I'm pointing right there.
Did you put a sign up? When did this happen?
Look at the invisible lines.
Some are up here or down there. I don't know where YouTube puts it.
Oh man, I love that. This is a good night already. So we have a tab on our website called Cocktails. So you go there. It should be the first one up if you're listening or watching this episode when it's first released. Otherwise, you can scroll down or search by the cocktail ingredient. So we have it sorted by the different spirits.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah. So if you need to find this one, just go to the whiskey section and you'll be able to find it.
There we go.
Yep.
Fantastic. Yay.
Yeah. That's it for me talking about the recipe.
My turn to talk. You can.
Fine. Okay. I'll just come over here and leave. You can talk to yourself.
I do that all the time.
You do. You have a whole conversation with me without me being involved.
Yep. And then I usually lose.
I'm that powerful.
But yeah. Anyway, once again, if this is your first time tuning in, these cards come from Class of the Cryptids from Afterlight Comics. If you get a chance to check them out, they have some lovely comics. They have some lovely stuff. They have this cryptid deck. They have another cryptid deck or yokai deck, which we got a copy of it. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
So that's really fun to go into. But yeah, they're a fun little card game that you guys can mess around with if you guys want to. We haven't played it, but we love these cards and they're great for
Keep going.
stuff. They've been great for this series of episodes. But they'll have a little description. And so the Tuttle Bottom Monster. Believed to inhabit the swampy area north of Harrisburg, Illinois, on the Saline River watershed, usually described as a ape-like and hairy with a long snout similar to an anteater. So that's our Tuttle Bottom Monster kind of thing. You ready for more?
Yeah.
The Tuttle Bottom Monster is a legendary creature said to inhabit the swampy area north Harrisburg, Illinois, in the Saline River watershed, usually described as a hairy, long snout similar to an anteater. Categorized as an abominable swamp slot. It's the first time I heard that, and I was like, huh. And to all you swamp witches out there, let me tell you about this eligible bachelor. The Tuttle Bottom Monster legend is familiar to generations of Saline County residents. Former Harrisburg Police Chief Gary Captree told the Harrisburg Monsters Daily Register that his department received approximately 50 reports over 28 years of an unidentified beast in the area northwest of Harrisburg. Some reports a creature with 2 legs, some with 4. Most describe it as having a long, almost anteater-like snout. So that's a lot of people seeing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Virgil Smith, a local resident, animal researcher, and founder of the Shadows of Shawnee, an animal research organization, has opened his own investigation into the monster. He told Harrisburg Registry he believes the creature is not a monster out of myth, but an actual animal released by federal government after the shutdown of Mount Vernon Zoo in the 1950s. In the neighboring Jefferson County. Smith claims that former employees of the U.S. Department of Agriculture confided to him that the department had launched a private investigation into the Tuttle Bottom Monster.
What?
Doo-doo-doo. The earliest reports of the creatures dates back to the 1960s by teenagers who used the area as a local makeout spot. Again.
Wow.
Don't go make out, people, because then you find monsters there.
The movies were true.
I know, right? And by hunters who would make frantic calls to the police after seeing the creature. It was rumored that some of the murders took place in the bottoms during the time. On August 6, 1963, the Harrisburg Daily Register reported that what seemed to be the first report of the creature. Saline County Sheriff James L. Thompson spent a busy night last night, starting at 11 p.m. and ending at 4:30 in the morning. The sheriff said he ran across a youth at Tuttle Bottoms about 11 p.m. The young man was armed with a rifle and told Thompson that there was a monster loose in the bottoms. He said it was 8 feet long, 4 feet high, and had a nose like an anteater. The young man put his rifle in his car and left. And later, Thompson ran across about a dozen boys, armed with shotguns and other weapons, and all looking for the monster at the bottoms. Their sheriff soon dispersed the boys and sent them home. Pretty much that. This is a story somebody else wrote about the monster. Me and two of my friends have had many encounters with the Tuttle Bottom monster, personally. Everyone thought that we were making it up, and then finally someone else believed it. It happened on or near the bridge on the road. It seemed to get annoyed or interested in us. We would flash our lights and off and honk our horns and yell. The description we all saw was a cat-like creature way over 6 feet. But this is just a guess by when it was on the road behind us and seeing its shape. I say a cat-like because its ears is like a cat pointing upwards. It had hands and long fingers. I guess you could say it sort of looked something like what people assumed the wolfman looked like, but different in a way. It was often spotted by us down by the waters in the creek. The creature goes on both 4 and 2 legs and can run on either. One of the times, it came behind us from out of the woods, and when it got near the middle of the road, it stood in its hind legs. That's when we saw how long it was. Then ran off into the woods, making a huge leap when it got near the woods. Once again, check yourself out. We all had...
I guess I wasn't being subtle enough for that.
You make me lose my spot.
Sorry. Now you're distracting me.
We all also have seen its eyes that glow like an animal's, but for some reason it's not that orange or yellow glow like a deer or something. It was more white with a blue tint to it. It was also followed us after the spotting when we lost track of it. We drove down the road and stopped by a spot and tried to spot it, and we heard a noise, and the blue eyes ran into the woods near us once again. There is no normal animal. It seems intelligent, but it thinks, and it's very fast. I believe that it can climb. There's a few times when we're out there and we would hear something on the trees. Too big to be a bird, and we once again would see the eyes. The other thing about the eyes, it seemed to glow even when not having any light near it. After we saw it about a third time, we had done research to try to find something that even resembled it, and never able to find an image or a creature that matches just right. Like the wolfman was the closest, but its face was somewhat human. It did not have a large snout from what we saw, and its arms or legs were longer than humans, but the basic shape, it was human-like. I have no idea, but it seemed like it was drawn to us. We had many friends that had gone the same night and many times and never seen anything, or if they do, I believe it was fake because it's nothing like what the three saw many times. Our names for it is the Tuttle Bottom Pussy, since it resembled a cat. This was all a few years ago. We have feared going back, but after this, we may go back and see if we can draw it out again. The end. So yeah. Once again, the government getting involved in making creatures. Or is
it really an anteater?
Is it really an anteater? I don't know. Are anteaters around Louisiana?
They're huge.
I know they're huge.
Well,
are they 8 feet tall?
But they're like 6 feet long.
Are they?
They're big.
So I can wrestle an anteater.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but you know, like from snout to tail.
Oh, okay, so that's tiny. So they're like your size then.
That's still big animal.
I can dig it out.
How big did you think an anteater was?
Like 3 feet.
Yeah, but
I mean, so the wolfhounds.
The wolfhounds are like 7 feet, but
yeah, that's
when they're standing on their hind legs.
Wolfhounds on their hinds are taller than me, so I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. Why did these kids... I'm going to go backwards. So they said they've run into it multiple times, but they just like keep going to the same area.
I'm sorry. Were you never a dumb teenager?
I was not.
Well, good
This
for
is
you.
why I haven't lived life, right?
Good for you. But let me tell you, as a fellow dumb teenager, you
Fellow.
go... Not for you. But
Yeah,
for
I
them.
was like, you're not in... I was a boring teenager. Little Miss Follow the Rule Book.
Yes. You go and go, hey, what is the craziest thing we can do? Let's go out in the middle of nowhere and let's see if we can find a monster. And go, hey, we found a monster. Let's do it again. And again. And again.
Until the monster's like, you know what? I'm calling in my backup friend.
I'm like, I'm done. Don't you remember that story? Did we read it? Or no, we heard it in Scared to Death where like the senior like thing to do was to go to this
Oh, that bridge?
like their bridge and then go to this cabin.
Yeah, and the whole time I was like, who is falling for this nonsense? Apparently a lot of people.
Dumb teenagers.
Well, this is why I don't like teenagers.
Yes.
I'm sorry to any of our teenager listeners, but
if you're like
I definitely
Chelsea
have
teenager,
a chip
you're good.
on my shoulder
But,
when it comes to teenagers. I dread our children becoming teenagers.
I mean, you've seen Friday the 13th? Old teenagers.
yeah. They
Yeah.
had it coming.
They're all getting murdered. All murdered.
Ah.
Also,
Yeah.
why are those makeup spots like getting like
What
creature
the heck?
encounters?
This is like a second one,
This
and
is
we've only just started.
Like all those movies were like, oh, let's go make out. And all of a
Oh,
sudden,
yeah,
like, a
yeah. I
killer.
have a point for that. Like, you're saying this, and all I could think of is, do you remember in Monsters vs. Alien,
Mhm.
where the thing crashes, and Katie wants to go look at it, but her boyfriend's, like, too scared, because, like, she wanted to make out with him, and he didn't. And this is all I kept thinking the entire time you're talking about the makeout spot.
I was thinking of the Scooby-Doo Incorporated. They had a makeup spot. And
Oh,
there was,
yeah.
like a monster showing up all the time.
Uh-huh.
But yes.
And you called it the Abominable Swamp
Sloth.
Sloth.
Yeah. I was like, oh. It kind of like the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
But the Abominable Swamp
And then,
Sloth.
so please enlighten the audience, because you said swamp witches, get ready to find your eligible bachelor. So why is he the eligible bachelor for these swamp ladies? Just because he hangs out in the
Because he's in the
swamp?
swamp, you know, you got somebody else, get yourself a little cryptid little pet.
Well, you guys know, like, in romance novels, the hairier, the sexier, right?
I mean, he's kind of like a werewolf.
Yeah.
He's tall.
At least, if anyone ever wanted to know what Chelsea's type was.
He's tall, hairy, handsome. He has some glowing blue eyes. He can
He's
stare
got
at
a
you.
whole view of the swamp.
And a long, long snout.
Ooh. And you said 50 reports
50
in only
reports.
28 years?
Yep.
Wow. And is that like still ongoing, or
I have no idea. I don't think so.
when was this like?
Well, no. So I have a date here for the story that I read about the kids at the end. It dates November. No, November. Yeah, it's America. I was like November 5th, 2010.
2010?
2010.
Oh, okay. So yeah, still pretty current. That's
Yeah.
only 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, cool. I like it.
Thought about them.
Simple.
Cute.
Not really like messing with a lot of people. I wonder what are all like the consistency of the reports. Are they just like, I saw this thing like in
instead,
passing,
like,
or
are anteaters like in Illinois like it's a natural creature?
no?
Then yeah,
I don't think so. I
don't
feel
know.
like I should look it up real
we'll look it up
quick.
later. But like if anteaters aren't around, it's kind of like we were talking about on the Loch Ness episode.
I want to say they're native to Africa.
I don't know what they're native to.
But so I don't think they're common. Like I don't think they're common. But I know I think they live like 30 to 40 years.
That's a long
So
time.
they're old. They get old. Like they're not like a house cat or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And they are good size. Like we saw one at the wait, was it there?
Yeah, it was tiny.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was like half my size.
At the
Sacramento Zoo?
Sacramento Zoo.
Yeah, we saw one. It was half my size. I was very disappointed.
Did we look at the same anteater?
I was trying to taunt it to be like, come on me, bro. But it wasn't working. But anyway.
I hear they're very powerful, too.
Yeah, well, you know what? See these guns? Pow. Pow. Tell me you want to see me wrestle an anteater. Also, tell me where I can find like a nice space I can do this shit. Because, anyway.
What?
Anyway.
Wait, what was that last part?
Tell me somewhere I can do this at because, you know, I don't want to be like jump into a zoo and like get into a cage and find an anteater.
I don't think they would like that very much.
No, I don't think they would either. But anyway.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. Like, but short and sweet too. I would like later on. I think we should just like deep dive, take a look at a bunch of the different police reports.
See if we can find any.
Yeah, just to see like what do they consist of. These are the hot take questions from Chelsea. Like,
right?
Are they all just like sightings, or there's like, oh, they were on my property, or like it chased after me, right? Because you usually have some of those where it's like you get an idea of it's just people seeing this creature, but not really up close, like the Mothman. Or there's instances where there's like several reports of like things getting broken or people getting chased, right?
What's going on?
So I'd be curious to look into those police reports and see what's happening. All right. So that's the Tuttle Bottoms monster.
Yay!
Are you guys ready to guess what the next one is? Play a little Cryptid Guess Who?
I'm curious what you wrote because I don't read this beforehand.
Should be fun.
I find out the Guess Who when you guys find out, so.
We both keep our secrets.
Secrets.
All right.
Go.
Okay. A fish-like body with the head of a gorgon. Some might even say a cousin of the kraken. This squiddish creature hails from Africa's south. Be wary and cautious, or end up in its mouth.
I was reading that, and I thought it said it's going to say end up in your mouth. And I was like, whoa. Aggressive. What is aliens?
All right. So if you would like to guess what this cryptid is and you have a really good idea from these very strong hints.
I know.
You don't get to guess. You know. You can leave your guess on Instagram, our website, or email us, and we'll share your guess on the next cryptid episode, which would be episode 46. Yeah.
46. My hands are cramping up.
Or if you get our email newsletter, you can also just reply to the email that includes that Cryptid Guess Who, and we'll accept that as well.
Cool.
So whatever is most convenient for you. We do share it on Instagram, in the stories, and on our feed.
Sounds good.
So just look for the episode 44 Cryptid Guess Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. This episode's going pretty quick.
It is going quickly.
Did you feel?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe the cocktail's just that good. Okay, so are we ready for our last call?
I'm ready for my last call.
Do you have any final closing thoughts on Tuttle Bottoms or our upcoming cryptid?
I haven't done that correctly, but I know it's not the right word. I like this government input on the whole like cryptid, this one, the flat bottoms, but also the whole like, oh, just like some anteater the government let loose. First of all, who's just letting loose animals like in the wild? Like they don't belong here. Number one.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that one, but do you want to get to your number two before?
No, mostly I only have number one.
Oh, okay.
Number two is just like, yeah.
I'm just gonna use a current problem that we're dealing with, like the animal shelters and the excessive amount of like dogs that need adopting.
Yeah.
It similar case, like when zoos close, if they can afford, because they're closing because they don't have the money to care for the animals anymore, or they were shut down, if they can afford to send the animal to another zoo, they do. But that's very expensive, especially for those bigger animals that aren't normally moved around. Finding transport and like that and stuff like that. Yeah. What would they do with the animals?
Yeah, that's true.
Like the responsible, ethical thing to do would be to try and transfer it to another zoo or find like a safari or what do you call that? Sanctuary, animal sanctuary that they could go to. But especially these animals that aren't native to the areas that the zoos are located in.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to find, especially if a fellow or nearby zoo to transfer to doesn't have the means to take care of that animal.
I get the aspect.
So,
but it's just also
like, I don't think it's that far-fetched. It's sad to think
No, yeah,
that's just what they do.
reality.
They're like, we're just going to let it out into the wild.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think there are more than likely rules against that. But is it being regulated if they're being shut down?
Mm-hmm.
Are they actually going to be following those rules?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, no, it's unfortunate that that's happening. But also, it's like,
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer.
why would you? Kind of thing. But
right.
No, I get it. No, for sure, 100%. Like I know that happens. It's just like, it's a cop-out excuse. Like, oh, it's just zero. Like the whole Loch Ness, and people are like, oh, it's an elephant. Like, there's no elephants in Scotland. It's like, oh,
right?
there was a circus and they lost an elephant. Really?
What about all the times before the circus came to town,
the circus,
right?
there was other sightings.
It would be different, like, if you're already having sightings, and then it's like, if the sightings occurred before the zoo shut down, then I'm like, no, that's not an excuse.
Also, I'm sure when they got out of the water, it made like this little like trumpet noise. So like you would have heard that. So no elephants in Scotland.
Yeah, well, but I've never heard any tales of Nessie having ears.
No. What?
Elephants have like very distinct
yeah,
ears.
they just swim in the water with the snout out so they can breathe.
I mean,
I don't know if they do that actually.
Have you seen an elephant swim?
No, I have not.
Okay. I don't feel it looks like Nessie.
No. But yeah. Anyway, neither off topic. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah. Let's ring the bell and say last
Cling,
call.
cling, cling. Thanks for sipping along with us. We want to keep those spirits flowing, so please be sure to show your support by reviewing and subscribing to our podcast. If you enjoy the show, be sure to share with others.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We have an email newsletter for those of you who don't want to or are trying to spend less time on social media. Come join us via sipsandspirits.com/happy hour, or you can join via our link tree on any social media platform. I believe we even have a tab on our website if you can't find, if that link doesn't work, but it should work. Yeah.
Nothing.
And then if you are curious to continue listening to us, which I hope you
To
are,
us.
you can find us on all podcast hosts or on YouTube. We love a visual podcast, and so that was a big goal of ours, and we have accomplished that thus far.
That's fine.
We also have a website, as we've shouted out several times in this episode, sipsandspirits.com, as well as hanging out on all the social media platforms under Sips and Spirits. We are most active on Instagram, but we do have our home pretty much everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. So there we are. Are we ready to close this tab and cheers?
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What else?